Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Jay Young Show. Man, I'm Jay Young, your host, but my co-host, Jordan Soto. Jordan, good afternoon. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fall, basically. So we've got the Canadian tuxedo going on. You can't see it, but I'm wearing
Uh,
jean pants and a jean shirt, and we're rocking it.
there you go. There you go. I mean, you tell me how many times you change. It's like there's so many different outfits throughout the day. I mean,
Oh,
what
yeah.
what what about life? I mean, man, I tell you what, all the decisions
Well,
split.
I'm sure your wife can relate to this. Like, you have the outfit to go on the walk in the morning, and then you have your work day outfit, and then you have the lounging outfit, and then
Yeah,
you have nighttime outfit, and
yeah.
then, it's just like a cycle. But then before the outfit you wear throughout the day, you have the outfit that you almost wore throughout the day. So what is this, like six outfits, five outfits, or something like
Uh,
that?
I know, I know. It really is
How it
crazy.
goes.
The huge pile every morning. There's just this huge pile that we have to take back to the laundry, and Michelle's always be sure and get your laundry, and I'm like, okay, it's not just mine, but I will
Oh,
take
so
it.
it's you who wears the six outfits.
No,
I got
no,
it.
no, 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 no. It's all of ours. We have plenty of stuff, but you're right though. There is a lot. There is a lot, and a lot goes on, and it's just hard when I'm trying to carry my shoes. I don't put my shoes on in the closet, so I carry my shoes.
Oh,
I carry my coffee. I'm trying to carry the laundry. I mean, I got so many things going on at one time. I mean, there's only so many things you can do, and
it's so true.
anyway, let's get back to the Jay Young Show. Jordan, I tell you what, today's going to be fabulous. It's going to be really, really good. I mean, we did. We're going to have Dr. Erik Lundquist. He's a board certified physician and leading voice in integrative and functional medicine. I'm not sure what functional medicine is. We're going to learn that really soon. Functional medicine. What is functional? What do you think functional medicine is, Jordan?
Well, I mean, he's such an interesting person to talk to anyway, because he's bringing in so many different pillars of things that you might not have thought would be a part of health. And he really hits on one of those key points in the interview. So if you want to know what that key point is, definitely take a listen to this interview in just a few moments here. But functional medicine to me is integrative medicine. So it's not just about like supplements that you take or medicine to maybe, fix an issue that you're having, but also throughout your day, things that you're incorporating into your daily life that will help you live a better one.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And there's like the I remember growing up in sports, and we had like a handful of vitamins and minerals to take, and it's like, you know, it went to the bathroom, your was a different color. I don't, you say urine on this show or not, but it's like how how much better do I feel when I'm doing that than, but you really can't see what's inside your body, and I guess that's the one thing about preventive, or what I get from what I read about him before we interviewed him, was kind of the preventive, or things that you're doing, vitamin D, the vitamins that you're not necessarily getting every day, that you're doing to your body, and making sure that you're doing everything in the best interest so you can live longer.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
can live longer, you're
And
doing the best things for the body.
And I think also through the conversation that we had with him, it was one of those conversations that talks about how you're just one step away from really being able to improve your energy and like just your daily life. And there are just a few things that you can incorporate. And if you have an idea of what those elements of health are, then you can go forward with confidence and firm footing. And he does a beautiful job explaining all of those things in this interview.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. I tell you what, we're going to talk about when we get back from doing our interview is about the energy. I want to talk more about the energy because I'm trying to summarize and trying to think how much of that is mental. how much of that
Mm.
energy is mental and what we do and how we think. Let's talk about that. So without any further ado, let's get into that conversation with Dr. Erik Lundquist. Hey everybody, this is Jay Young and another episode of the Jay Young Show. I'm very fortunate to be here with my co-host Jordan. How are you doing today, Jordan Soto?
Fantastic, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've had a lot of different. I went and listened to um, I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name, but it was a military at lunch today. So I wore the Trump, the blue and red. You know, my wife was
You got
like,
your America outfit on
exactly,
today.
exactly. Well, I mean, I felt like saying, and I put this out to X, which everybody should follow me on X, but I put it on X. I said, hey, I'm listening to this great, and I said his name, General today. I'm excited about it, and I said, God bless America and these guys that are military, which is we are so fortunate that so many people go to that go into our military. They're great people, and they just love their jobs, and it's just incredible, and to hear their stories, and I was like, I said God bless America on X. I should have said God bless our troops. God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engines. I mean, those three things right there just get me fired up, man. I tell you what. But anyway, we're not here for that today. We're here, Jordan, because we have a special guest, Dr. Erik Lundquist, who I ran across on LinkedIn, I believe, right? Right, Erik?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to know more about this guy. Fascinating story. He's changing the world. He's changing the world in regards to healthcare and with treating sickness and just doing the things that's optimizing wellness. I ran into a friend of mine in California. Well, actually, he lives in California, and we were in somewhere, Arizona, I think. And I said to him, man, living in California, you pay a lot of taxes out there. And he said, yes, but he said, you know what? It's worth it because I'll be broke faster, but he said I'm gonna be in good health because I'm getting outside and I'm exercising every day. So I can't wait to hear more about Dr. Lundquist and him talking about wellness. Because that's one thing we talk about on the show, Jordan. We're not quite to 200 episodes, but we've been through a lot, and being healthy, wealthy, and wise is incredibly supported on this program, and we definitely want to make sure that we do that. So I look forward to hearing more about that. Doctor, why don't you go in and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started, in this profession?
Yeah, I'd love to, and thanks for having me on your show. I'm excited to share a little bit about what I'm doing, and my background, interestingly enough, has a military spin to it. So
Great.
I participated with the Navy scholarship program and had them help me pay for medical school, and then spent 8 years on active duty. Did my family practice residency training at Camp Pendleton, and had that interrupted in 2001 when I spent 2 years with the Marines, and we were with the 1st Marine Unit into Baghdad. And actually, my daughter was born on the day that we entered into Baghdad, and found out from the MSNBC reporter that was embedded in our unit.
Oh,
So I spent, so I spent some time with the military. Loved my time there. It was great training, and interestingly enough, my undergraduate training was in a program called kinesiology, which is the study of human performance. So we had classes on nutrition, we had classes on exercise physiology, and it was a really good fit for me when I got in with the Marines, because obviously I was looking at their health from that standpoint. We would talk about supplements, we talk about exercise. And so for me, that just made sense. And then when I got into my career as a family physician, it was started to get me bogged down. I mean, I was seeing 25 patients a day. I was spending
Mm.
15 minutes a patient. Our focus was on, what medication we could prescribe, what pill for what ill, and it just
Right.
started to wear on me. And I just, I wasn't getting the kind of satisfaction that I even had while I was in the military when I was helping the Marines be their optimal best, right? And I had had some training. A good friend of mine who was an undergraduate with me in kinesiology had started a fellowship in San Diego in the Scripps Center for Integrative Medicine. And so I spent some time with him. And the more I got into it, the more I realized that I wanted to practice the type of medicine that would be lifestyle based, really get to the root cause of the problem, and then use whatever resources I had available to optimize an individual's health. And so in 2014, after spending 6 years in private practice, I opened the Temecula Center for Integrative Medicine, where we brought in a chiropractor, we brought in acupuncture, we had a lifestyle educator, we had a naturopath. And the goal here was to really do a comprehensive look at where an individual is coming in. So if they came in and said, "Hey, I'm suffering from migraines," I wasn't like, "Okay, what pill can we give you in order to make the suffering go away?" It was like,
Hmm.
"Why are you having migraines? That's not right. That's your body's alarm system going off." And we want to understand what's going on, because if we can get to the root cause, then we stop the migraines. I'm not just putting you on a medication that then is potentially has side effects and other things if you continue to use it. So that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of my background and kind of where I've been in the last 20 years or so.
Wow, I love that. I mean, I do the same thing. I get a real big headache, and my wife says, "Well, take some Advil and some Sudafed," and I'm like, "Okay, but that doesn't solve the problem. There's a problem. I'm having these because I'm for some reason." And I love that. So what have you learned most about that, or what have you dug down into? I guess that really takes you deep into research on what's causing those problems. What's been one of your biggest, I guess, finds research?
I wonder if it's food because I mean if we're looking at the US food like system or what I mean just like the food that we're eating has been so genetically modified to be grown faster and bigger that I feel as though the nutritional value of the food is not where it should be, which is then in turn leading to some pretty big crises when it comes to the health of Americans. I mean, I have noticed a tremendous difference between going from grocery store food to farmers market food and eating from local farmers and eating the beef from local farms from milk and vegetables and making sure that it's just like in season foods and not that would be my guess and I mean that's what my Instagram feed is saying. So are these Instagrammers on to something here?
Oh, Jordan, you're so right, and I'm so glad you brought that up. So I was trained after doing family medicine and specialized in family medicine. Then I did a fellowship. I got grandfathered into a fellowship of integrative medicine. So I have a subspecialty in the American Board of Integrative Medicine. And then on top of that, I did a certification in the Institute of Functional Medicine and got a certification there. And with functional medicine, we talk about 5 pillars of health. And those 5 pillars are sleep, exercise, movement, nutrition, stress management, and then community relationships.
Oh,
And a lot of people, even in our profession, we get so focused on the first 4, sometimes we forget about the 5th. And we saw this during COVID, right? So
right.
many people, I mean, we were seeing deaths in the elderly because they were isolated. They didn't have the ability to have a community or relationships. We saw people not being able to get out and connect, and it significantly impacted their health. They started drinking more. They started taking up other bad habits. So I think all 5 of these pillars are super important to your overall health. But to your point, nutrition is key. It really is. Food is medicine, right? And if we're eating the right food, then we can give our body the nutrients. One of the things that I've learned, and I knew this early on, but then I was kind of confused during medical school, is that the body has an amazing capacity to regenerate and heal. Much we see this with farms, right? If you take an area that or just land, right, and you allow it to just recover and grow, and it will actually heal itself, and you can clear the toxins out of it. We are seeing in our environment a lot of toxicity. We're seeing pesticides, plastics, other things that are sprayed on foods or
Mm.
we're eating out of, that then those things impact the way that our cells function and then the amount of stress that we're under. All of those things, so you can see why these 5 pillars of health are so critical. Now we can go deep dives into other cellular dysfunction and other things from a molecular level, which is really fun to do from a biochemistry standpoint. But if we just focus on those 5 pillars of health and we improve people's foundation, it's so much of their overall health improves pretty quickly.
What are they again? There's food, there's stress, there's
So sleep,
sleep,
exercise, movement. And
exercise.
the reason we say movement and not just exercise, because some people don't like to exercise, and that's okay. But we just don't want you sitting on your tail all day, right? We want you to get up, move around, find something that you enjoy. If that's gardening, if that's, taking care of a home, if that's working on a farm, like it doesn't have to be horses, whatever, right? Just be out moving, doing some physical kind of activity. Nutrition. Fourth is stress management, right? And fifth is then community or relationships.
Wow. Well, my wife says cigars, but that doesn't anything. You're not. Okay, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna tell her. Dr. Lundquist said cigars is not the one. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't need to get off. But number five was community or
Mhm.
having good solid relationships and being happy. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
happiness has a lot to do with it.
for sure.
Yeah,
And that community is where the happiness a lot of drive. I mean, if you're gonna offset the toxins of cigars, it's because you're doing it in a community, right? You're you're
absolutely.
you're enjoying the good relationship, you're having a good time. And if you're having a cigar once or twice a month or something, that's not going to be the issue. Is if you're smoking on a daily basis, a pack a day, right? Having an occasional cigar is probably not going to be as detrimental to your overall health, particularly if it's in a community setting where you're having a relationship, you're having communication, you're connecting with other men or other people,
Yeah,
that's really important.
yeah.
You know, I so one of the key things that we've talked about on this show, as we've gone through, we're almost to 200 episodes, through all the conversations that we've had on the show, one of the key things is talking about those key challenges, and key opportunities when it comes to entrepreneurs. When we talk about stress management as one of the key pillars for overall health, when you're starting a business, there is a lot of stress and strain that comes as quite the challenge for entrepreneurs. What is a key piece of advice or something that you've learned along the way to help those young entrepreneurs or, well-versed entrepreneurs in their stress management?
I love that question. And being an entrepreneur myself, you find that you get so passionate about something and you just want to see it come to fruition. And you've created this wonderful idea in your head and now you're putting these things together. But if you start to allow the tasks of building a new business overrun your life, that's where you get out of balance, right? And so, one of the things that I recommend for myself and for my patients is that you take some time in the morning to create your day, right? And if you're spiritual, if you're religious, then take some time, get in the Bible, get in your scriptures, get in a classic book that helps from a self-fulfillment standpoint. Spend some time doing that. Spend some time in meditation and prayer,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
and think about your day from that standpoint and just really get centered on who you are because it's
Mhm.
really important that what you're doing aligns with your true self.
Yeah.
And it's really easy sometimes in business, right? We get these ideas, we get going and we start creating something, and then all of a sudden the opportunities come just showering upon us, right? It's like, oh,
Right.
you could do that, and right. And if you know who you are, then you can sit back and you can say no to the opportunities that aren't in alignment with you, and you can continue to say yes to the ones that are, and then each day you're going more in flow with what you should be doing, and it's amazing, right? I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Peter Sage. He trained under Tony Robbins, but he talks about how if you meditate for an hour, when he meditates for an hour,
An
he
hour.
can actually he can actually accomplish more in 2.5 hours than he would in an entire day, right? It
Wow.
activates his brain power, right? He
Mhm.
turns that on and it's operating at such a high frequency that it allows him to be efficient. And also there's an interesting principle about that, right? When we are activating our brain and we're in alignment with our soul, good things get attracted to us, right? It's the law of attraction. So these things that we want to have happening in our lives all of a sudden start showing up. Jay, I'm sure you've seen that in your life, right? Where you've been envisioning things, you're moving forward, and all of a sudden what you need next just shows up in front of you and you're like, how did that happen? That's a miracle. Well, that's just the law of attraction. When you're thinking and feeling and operating from that standpoint, then things are happening. So back to the physiology, right? When you are allowing yourself to calm down, there's two parts to the stress system. Sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight, and the parasympathetic service nervous system, which is our rest and restore. When we start the day off, our cortisol levels are high, our adrenaline levels are high. That gets us going. That wakes us up and we're ready to go. But when we quiet our mind down and we have this time, it activates our parasympathetic nervous system. And it actually sets the stage for our body so that it can handle any of the stress that comes. Then we want to see as time goes on, if there's something, a crisis that happens, or if we need to engage with something, our
Mhm.
stress response kicks in and we're there and we have the capacity to do that. But then we fall back into our parasympathetic, which is our rest and restore. And that allows our body to repair in such a way that the stress doesn't continue to break us down and lead to a chronic illness or disease. Jordan, did that kind of help answer your question?
Oh, absolutely. I just have one question here. So coffee first thing in the morning, us entrepreneurs, we love it. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I think there's debate about that, and I think it's more of a quantity thing than it is necessarily. So if I am in a stressed out state and I'm using coffee to continue to perpetuate my stressed out state, I mean, what do
Oh,
you think? Is coffee going to be a good thing or a bad thing? It's all like common sense, right? It's like, no, if my body's tired and I'm stimulating it to push beyond its capacity, that's
yeah.
not really listening to myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the key here is, why am I using the coffee in the morning? Am I doing it because it's enjoyable and I'm just taking a moment? Now, black tea and green tea has some health benefits that offset the coffee a little bit. I mean, the
Right.
caffeine, right?
Yeah.
So the L-theanine in there is kind of a nice calmer. So you get kind of the stimulus from the caffeine, you get the calming agent from the L-theanine. But in general, if you're eating well, you're taking your time to prepare yourself, you're getting adequate rest, having a cup of coffee in the morning is totally fine. It's when we're using it as a stimulant to keep us awake, to keep us energized, and we're relying upon that coffee as a way of um, getting us through the next thing, then
Yeah.
we're not really listening to our body. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I thought we were listening to our bodies, and that's why we do it. That that and the cigar, right? You gotta.
Jay's having his coffee, he's smoking his cigar, or
Man,
what
I tell you what.
he would smoke it this way. I don't know. I've never smoked a cigar.
Yeah, happy life. I mean, it's you
They're
got to
kind of
listen.
stinky.
That's why I'm listening to my body
Yep.
and listening to what. But anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to make light of the situation. I know that this is very,
Oh no, you're
very,
doing
very
great.
serious, and I know that we an hour. Somebody meditates for an hour every morning.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you.
It's you know, one thing, Jay, that I've heard, and I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but somebody said this and it kind of stuck with me, is when you pray, you're talking to God, but when you're meditating, you're listening to what God has to say, and you're like opening yourself up to receive. And one of the biggest misconceptions I would find when people are talking about meditation is they think that they're just sitting there for, an hour, just kind of like, oh my gosh, so many thoughts. Like I'm focusing on everything. And it's less about that. And it's more about coming back to yourself and being open to receiving what is
Yeah,
coming to you, but in a way that is unattached. So it's focusing on your breath and it's being continuously present without losing yourself within the fleeting thoughts that are coming and passing by. It's acknowledging but not being attached to them, and then allowing like the whatever's whatever you're needing to receive to be within that. But an hour, Jay, to your point,
Yeah.
long time.
Long time. It's a long time to go. Aren't you supposed to do that too while you never mind. Anyway, but
Well, start with 5 minutes, Jay. Let's start with 5 minutes. Do some breathing exercises.
okay.
There's plenty of apps out there that you can use to help guide you through a breathing
Jay's
exercise.
gonna find another AI app. It's gonna be like a perplexity meditation.
Yeah.
Don't want AI to meditate for you.
Oh, you can't, and I can't text message while I meditate.
No,
That's
no.
not what the text message all
Put the phone in another room.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good point too, though.
Yeah. Well, I know that Bob Bodine, who has been a guest on the show a couple of times, he does two chairs, and he meditates every morning, but he sits with two chairs, him in one chair and an empty chair, which is God,
Oh.
and then he'll talk to God for a minute. He'll just come out and tell everything it is, and then he will sit there for 4 minutes to 10 or whenever God's finished. But he says, "I'll listen to him." So I guess that's his time of listening to God, but he talks to God first and looks at the chair, and I've done it, but I've not done it effectively. I had dinner last night with a really good friend of mine, and I sent him the book, and he's doing it effectively, and I haven't been there, but I don't. Everybody that does it just loves it, and they really feel like that God is speaking to them, and I mean, I've done it. Like I said, I've done it, and I enjoyed it, and I listen and you're just thinking about it, going, man, he has a lot more to say than what you think. So I like that. I don't know if I can do it for an hour, but I'd be willing to try.
You'll work your way up, Jay. You'll work your way up.
Hours.
Reward yourself with the cigar afterward.
Yeah. All right. That's the goal, and then that's the reward. That's the reward I get for meditating for an hour without my phone. I don't see it. I mean, man. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Let's. What else do you want to talk about? We got about 5 minutes, and Doctor, I want to make sure we got off on this 5 pillars and meditation. I want to make sure that this is everything that you want. So, what else is there that you want to talk about?
Well, I think the one thing that we saw with another thing that we saw with COVID was this kind of awakening of people in America to say, hey, there's something I need to do to improve my overall health. And I'm not getting that from my current state of going to the doctor, getting a quote unquote annual physical, which basically entails, a doctor spending more than 5 minutes actually doing a physical exam on you and then ordering some labs and coming back and saying, if there's nothing gravely abnormal, you say, oh, you're fine, right? But nobody's really looking at this from a deeper level. If you come in with diabetes, what's the goal? Oh, let's get your A1C down below a threshold, not reverse the diabetes, but let's just get you so you're not so out of control. And that mindset, I think, is starting to shift. People don't want to just have controlled diabetes, which is an oxymoron in and of itself, because your blood sugar is out of control. And so controlling something that's out of control, it doesn't make sense, right? We want to reverse that. We want the body to heal itself and get back to the point where it can operate at an optimal level. And then when you have these disease processes that come into play, like COVID, your body has more resiliency to respond to it. So I think what we're seeing is the shift, at least from a patient standpoint. And the problem is that the medicine collective in general is behind the curve. Mm-hmm. So what I'm hopeful, what I would love to continue to see is more and more physicians embracing this opportunity to learn more about what I call good medicine. One of the lead questions that you kind of sent to me to think about was, well, how do you integrate this being an MD and then having more of a holistic type of a
Mhm.
practice. Well,
Mhm.
all we're doing is going back to kind of the roots of medicine, which is looking at the person in front of us, trying to understand what they want from their health journey, and then supporting them along that journey to help them get to their optimal place. Not forcing them to take some pill that we think is going to protect me from a medical legal standpoint, that I've done my best, I've met the standard of care, but no, really, what does Jay Young need, right? What can I do to help you be the optimal you in this process? So one of the things that I'm passionate about is then helping other doctors do what I've been trained to do, but not just from a educational standpoint, like, okay, well, this is how you take care of somebody who has diabetes from a more cellular, molecular, metabolic perspective, but how do you make money doing it? Because
Right.
the challenge is that we live in a volume-based reward society in terms of medicine, right?
Mhm.
If I see 25 patients a day, I bill out for 25 visits and I get reimbursed on 25 visits. If I see 10 visits a day, then I only get reimbursed for 10 visits. You can see the difference in the amount of revenue I'm going to generate from that, right? So
Mhm.
we have to shift this mindset. And I know they've been talking about value care versus volume care in kind of the policy making, but it's not, it hasn't been that effective because
Mhm.
it still comes down to us producing numbers and getting this. So I'm hopeful that we can start to help more practitioners who want to practice good medicine, which is looking at the whole person, identifying what we can do at the root problem, identify ways of generating more revenue so that they can actually provide the kind of care that they want. And so that's what our podcast is really about. The root cause business of medicine is really about interviewing all of my colleagues and friends who have been doing this successfully, making money doing this, so we can share that with my colleagues.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Well, and then what is your podcast and how can people get a hold of you?
So the podcast is the Root Cause Business of Medicine podcast, and they can find me at www.tcimedicine.com, which is our clinic, Temecula Center for Integrative Medicine, or they can find me on LinkedIn. Just search my name, and there's links to the podcast there.
Oh, great. That's awesome. And meditate for an hour, smoke cigars, and have coffee, or limit your coffee. And okay. Anyway, that's great. I love the interview, and I love the energy around longevity and doing everything we can to make sure that we live longer. And there is so many different things that we can do. And identifying the five pillars is great, because if we do need to meditate more, or if we need more sleep, people may not realize that they're not exercising, or they need to put that at the top of their mind to say, hey, you know what, I do need to exercise more, or I need to start. I mean, I know that somebody said this one time. It said that we put in our bodies sometimes that what dogs would run from. We put that in our bodies all the time, and I know that's not can't be good. It definitely can't be good for you. Stress management. You can use perplexity to look at the Bible verse of the day and tell you, hey, what Bible verse can help me today because I'm stressed, and that'll definitely help you out. Which I know you mentioned that with the Bible and the meditation, but I love it. Jordan, what do you got?
I mean, I think that this has been a very intriguing conversation, just from your background and your study into the approach that you suggest with those five pillars. It's been really a great conversation, and we appreciate you taking the time to come and talk with us.
My
Absolutely.
pleasure.
And Jordan, you want to finish up with the anything in particular? If there's anything you tell yourself, if your 18-year-old self, if you had to do it all over
Okay,
again,
I didn't know if we had time. I
we
know
don't
we're
have
hard
time.
stop, so
We don't have time in a hurry. We don't have
okay,
time in
all
a hurry.
right.
Don't tell Michelle.
If you could go back in time, and knowing what you know now about your practice and your journey along the way, being an entrepreneur and everything that you've learned,
We don't have time
what
for the
piece of
long
advice,
version of this question. We just have just.
what piece of advice would you
Oh,
give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I would tell him to keep believing in your dreams. And as long as you continue working hard, believing in your dreams, amazing things will happen. And I think that we all get in that spot where we're young and we're excited, but there's so much life ahead of us and it feels daunting or overwhelming. And we get discouraged at times when things aren't going our way. And so I just have that kind of as a mantra just to keep reminding myself, hey, hang in there. It's gonna be a great future ahead of you.
That's great. I love that, and I tell you what, because you've gone against the grain, and you and your brother are doing some great things out there, and I love that. And you need to catch this podcast. I want to catch this podcast. I want to have you back on once I learn how to meditate for an hour. I definitely want to have you back on,
Well, then I guess I probably won't get back on here. Just have me back in. Have me back on when you've meditated for 5 minutes,
okay.
and we can.
Oh, there you go. Hey, all right, you got it. You got it there. That's a better chance of
Goal
success.
setting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow. Hey, what about that, Jordan? That was a great interview.
I mean, again, his perspective on how to optimize your health and your life is just such an intriguing conversation piece. And he does a beautiful job explaining those different elements. And one of those key things that I thought was really interesting is when he was talking about community, and he was talking about how that is such a key part of health, and how we saw the impact of not having community through the pandemic,
Mm.
and now afterwards seeing how when we're reintroduced to community and we have that surrounding environment, it really does impact our health in such a tremendous way. And I know for you, one of those key pieces of conversations was the energy conversation. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, let's do that. And the reason why I say that is that, and I think it's a great point that you bring up about the accountability or the 5 people you hang around, because
Mm.
you're a sum of the 5 people you hang around, right? I mean, if you hang around 5 drug dealers, guess what, man? You're going to become a drug dealer. You hang around 5 people that are broke, or people that are unhappy, or people that just don't really care about life, or they hold a grudge
Or
about
people that are complaining,
yeah,
or have negative energy and are
yeah,
just always in a bad, tough mood. I mean, that really does zap your energy and really put you in a bad place.
right,
I was just reading something the other day that was talking about how when you are hanging around somebody who complains all the time, that your mind actually rewires to feel like pain.
hmm,
And when you're in the same room as somebody who's complaining, they're complaining to you, then your neurons start firing as if you're in pain as well. And then it becomes this environment where it's a negative experience, right?
right.
And so, it's so important, like you said, to look at what your environment is and who you're surrounded by, because that will impact your your life and
Yeah.
how you navigate through it.
Well, how people look at you. How do they look at you in a positive way? Do they look at you as, oh my gosh, here he comes again. Get away from Jay. He's a negative Nelly. It's like,
Nobody wants an energy vampire around.
man, I tell you, exactly. Exactly. You're right. And that's what, you know, I like hanging around people that are positive, or people that want to talk to me, or that mention my name. Hey, Jay, how you doing? God, you look great today. Man, I just love that kind of person. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think you love that because you're a giver, and when you are gifted things and you are given things, then it like fills your cup as much as you fill other people's cup. Because that's the way, I mean, every time I see you, you're like, oh wait, hey, how you doing? You look great. How's everything going? And you're just always in such a good mood, and that's easy to be around. It's nice and comfortable and fun, you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Instead of the other way around, where you're just, you don't want to talk to those people, and
No,
they're
you're
just
like, oh,
negative.
gotta go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, there's a
Hey,
fire in the
coffee
building.
over there.
Oh, there's so many different things we can do to stay away. Definitely stay away from those kind of people for sure, and it's just not good.
Yeah.
But I like that, and I like the thought of mental energy, mental. Hey, I want to make sure that when I wake up in the morning, I'm going, man, at 6:30. God, I've got the opportunity to go to work today.
Right.
I am I'm fired up, and it's hard to do that. But if you do that enough, man, at 6:30 in the morning when that alarm goes off, or 5:30, I mean, Zig Ziglar called it an opportunity clock. He didn't call it an alarm clock, because then you think of it as a negative alarm. It's like,
Right.
oh, I gotta get up. No, he thinks of it as an opportunity clock. But if you write down some of the things that you're thinking about, I'm thinking about, how do I make money for our investors? What do I need to do to make money for the investors? What do I need to do? I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about it, and I'm wondering, what's the best way? And then all of a sudden, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, man, I got to dig back into that spreadsheet, or I got to talk to Steve about what's going on, or let's go find some more, let's go find some more projects just like this, because we want to make sure that we do everything possible. And if you're positive, if you're looking at it in a way that helps clients or helps other people, you'll be more positive. And so I think positive energy is really, really great. I think pills can help you, or not pills, but vitamins and things that Dr. Lundquist was talking about, about the preventive stuff, which is great. But I also think that people need to have a good attitude. They need to have a good attitude. I was fortunate. I was very, very fortunate, because when I went to college, I was at Angelo State University in San Angelo, ASU, the other ASU, or not Arizona State, but the other ASU, the better one. No, I'm just kidding. But I was going to I was going to Angelo State University, and I answered an ad in the book, or an ad in the newspaper. The old fiery newspaper that most people never seen. But I looked at it, and there was an ad in there that says, "Hey, make $200 a week part time." Part time,
Whoa.
$200.
Yeah, sign me up.
We got quarter beer down here at the Graham Central Station, or whatever that thing is, and I can make $200 in a week. Sign me up.
200 beers.
Yeah,
Or more. Way more. Double that. Triple that.
800.
I'll do for that.
800. Yeah, 800 beers. Man, that isn't a lot of beer.
Oh my gosh.
We'll try though. We'll do it. But I'm just thinking about it, and I went to work for a guy named Eddie Hamby. Eddie was the guy that was selling fire alarms. He had a distributorship in San Angelo, and every day after lunch, we would go in and we would train for an hour, 2 hours, and he would train us. Him and, oh man, there's a guy named Dean Mitz. I believe it was Dean Mitz was on there. Matt, there's another guy, Matt, and there's a bunch of guys that would just, but they would we'd knock on doors in West Texas selling fire alarms. In San Angelo, or outside San Angelo near Big Lake, we'd drive 70 miles, and we would go and try to sell fire alarms door to door. And you had to be motivated, literally motivated, because you're getting out in the West Texas sun and you're knocking on doors with a sticker, and you're asking them to. We'd be glad to show you a free film about fire safety, and about how to save your children in the event of a fire. And so we would go around, and you have to knock on, because you have to get the husband and wife together at the same time to watch the film, and because you're going to sell them this $1,000 worth of fire alarms, and so you're having to get all these people lined up, and maybe get a 6 o'clock, a 7 o'clock, an 8 o'clock appointment, and we'd have these.
Question.
Yeah.
With the fire alarms, because I'm just thinking about this as you're telling the story. Every house now has fire alarms in them. At the time that you were selling them, did houses already have fire alarms? Or were you selling them because they didn't?
Yeah, well, some did, and some had smoke detectors, right? Some had literally a smoke detector, but what we were selling was something better, and it was a heat detector. So we had a heat detector in every room. So when the flames came up, when the ceiling got above 135,
pull out that pitch, Jay.
What I was thinking about 135.
A bit.
Yeah, but what we do is we go in there and we would bring this. It was literally a suitcase this big, and it had this big film projector in it. I mean, this is way before telephones or whatever. I
Right,
mean,
right.
and we'd go in, we'd set up the film projector, and then setting up the film projector, we'd put the film on, and it was about about all these kids that are dying in fires and thinking about Vietnam War, and more people died in fires and more people died in fires in the United States than died in the Vietnam War during the same time period. Pretty
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
Yeah. And we talked about that, and then we would talk to them about our fire alarms, and then we would set up a heat detector in each. I think it was 119 degrees. When the ceiling got to 119 degrees,
Right.
it melted the cap on the heat detector, and then the heat detector would go off automatically. It was
I
wound
see.
up. We'd wind them up. We'd wind them up and put the cap on it, and then when the cap came off of it, or it melted, if you will, from 119 degrees. I think it was 135 degrees in the attic or basement, but 119 on a normal 110. I don't know.
Hmm.
But anyway, say 110 degrees. So when the ceiling got to 110 degrees, it would melt that heat detector fuse at the deal, and then it would come up, start. It would go off at 100, 200 decibels or something, and it would wake up everybody in the house so you could get them out. And we were
Right.
the best places to go were people that had a really nice swing set outside for their kids,
Oh,
and they
you get to
had
live
a
there.
nice house, and they were in a trailer home. Because a trailer home's gonna, I mean, it's immediately gone, right? But if they had good credit, we did. But anyway, so I know that's a long story to talk about my positivity in life, but the good thing about that, and the best thing about what I learned during this time of employment at Angelo State, which I worked there for about a year and a half, I guess. As soon as I got to San Angelo until I left, was listening to motivational tapes, because Eddie would have motivational tapes. So we would literally sit there and listen to the cassette recorder. You probably never seen it. You probably never seen a cassette recorder, but yeah.
I
Oh,
have.
okay, not an 8-track, but it's a
Those
cassette.
things are horrible to rewind, but
Yeah,
yes, I have it.
I've still got one in my car with a motivational tape in it. Uh,
Oh, really?
well,
Oh, that's
it's in
funny.
the back. It's not really there. But anyway, but we would listen to motivational tapes, and it would talk about setting goals, how to set a goal, what to do. I mean, that's all
Hmm.
stuff that's embedded in me, from an early age. I loved it, and I love it still to this day, because I still think about it. I think about anything and everything I can about setting goals and what to do on setting a goal. It's like the place we're drilling right now in the Bivens Ranch. It's 60,000 acres. It's a 60,000 acre ranch where you can drill literally over 100 wells, and we want to drill 20 wells. We want to drill 20 wells, and to drill 20 wells, it's going to take a lot of equity, some debt, some project financing. To drill 20 wells, it's going to take a lot. But then after we drill 20 wells, those wells are going to be worth, 20, $30 million each. That's going to be 500 to 600 million. So that's kind of how my mind thinks on what do I need to do to set goals? How am I going to get the wells drilled over here on this side with our King operating team, our operations team, but also how am I going to get the money together on the debt equity side to get those wells drilled? So, I mean, I think that everybody should listen to motivational tapes. Grant Cardone got me through the pandemic after he started talking about 90% of his time was investing in his real estate, which I didn't want to do that. But he got me through the pandemic, and I just think motivational stuff is really good. But I don't think I think it's a lot of mental.
Absolutely. I think that when you are listening to somebody who is giving you those motivational talks, it's taking from that what is resonating with you. Because sometimes whenever you're listening to them, you're like, all right, that's not, I don't, I can't really understand that. It's not really like resonating with me. But by listening to it, when you do get to a point where that where you're able to then understand it,
Mm-hmm.
it is so much more impactful. Like you're getting those seeds planted, and then whenever you're going through, you're like, oh, that's what they meant. That makes a lot of sense. And then other times they're speaking, and you're like, okay, yes, everything that this person is saying, I feel fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to implement what they're telling me. And this is awesome.
Right, right. Exactly. I mean, it's kind of like having goals that are measurable, making sure that it is a goal that's measurable. It's a goal that, I ran a bunch of half marathons, and but every day you had to run a certain amount, but you had to put
Mhm.
all those days together, and so when the day came that you're ready to go, it's like you're not gonna get a calf, the first 15 seconds or something. You're ready to go. How do you train your
Right.
body? How do you get your body there? It's like losing weight. Everybody can say, man, I'm going to lose some weight this year. But you can also say, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds by December 31st, which is a bad time
Mhm.
to try to lose weight in the Christmas time because it's all good and we love it all. Uh, but supposedly January is not a very good time either because nobody loses weight in January, even though they set all these goals. Nobody.
Well, and everybody signs up for the gym memberships, but they do try, and if it's your year to do that, we are rooting for you.
Right. But you know what they
But
said?
speaking of,
They said
oh, go
that
ahead.
it's all measurable, but it's also what's in it for you, and and if that what's in it for you when you're setting goals is so much greater than the pain that you're going to have to do to get there, then the likelihood of you accomplishing that goal is okay. Because a lot of people go, I'll lose 20 pounds, and you go, well, if I wear a jacket, you really can't see my extra 20 pounds,
Right.
and they're like,
Well,
okay,
and I think it also goes to, how are you motivated, right? If
mm-hmm,
you think that you're just gonna like, I'm the type of person that once I've decided that I'm gonna make this change, I just make the change.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get up at 4:30 in the morning every morning, starting tomorrow, and then I do it, right? But you have to like do it. And it's keeping that promise to yourself. But I am like internally motivated, not so much externally motivated, and some people are externally motivated, and so they need that outside hoorah to keep them, going. So that's where you're like, okay, maybe you need a buddy to kind of keep you accountable, or to help you accomplish these goals that you have said that you want to accomplish. There's so many different factors to it, and I think sometimes that goes by the wayside of people's understanding of how to get where they want to be.
right. I love that. I think that's really great because you're right, and it's like me working out. I'm fortunate I've got a place in my house where I can work out, and I've got a guy that comes over. Carlton comes
Right.
over.
So maybe you're externally motivated.
Man,
Like you need the trainer
I
so that
definitely
you
need the trainer.
do it,
I,
you
I
know?
I can even think about it and go upstairs and not work out. I can even be internally motivated to put on my gym clothes and go upstairs and never work out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can do it. It's easy. It's easy to not work out. No,
Yeah,
I do work out sometimes on my own, and
I don't.
I've got to
I always think about it. I'm like, that's one of those things where I'm like, I think about it and I'm like, I need a gym partner. Maybe I just need
yeah
a, a personal trainer or something like
yeah.
that. I don't know. We'll get through it eventually. But Jay, I think it's time for our oil and gas headlines, our 2025 winter outlook. What do you think?
Well, I tell you, it's if you've been in Dallas or Houston here last few days or whatever, it's getting cold, and the cold means that we're going to use a lot more natural gas, and if we use a lot more natural gas than we have the supply for, prices are going to go up, and I do believe that we're going to see prices go up because of number one, it is getting colder. Number two is LNG. We're exporting a lot more natural gas, which is good. And number three is, I mean, the AI and the all the other places that we need uh, to generate more electricity need that natural gas. So I'm really bullish on natural gas between now and next year, and being $5, even $5 per MCF, which is just great for us. Really, really great for us. So I think it's going to be cold.
Well, maybe you hold off on the working out then, and keep the 5 pounds, and then you can save on the energy. What do you think?
Hey, there you go. I like it. I wondered
I
what you were.
planned it all out
I
in my
was
head.
I was watching you when I was talking about that. I was watching you kind of. I knew there was something brewing in your
Doing
head.
math in my head.
I know, man. Smoke coming out of that ear over there. But anyway, no, I think you're right, and I believe that we're going to have a good market for oil and gas, but
Hmm.
really natural gas. I mean, I think that oil and gas is going to be a good. I don't think demand's going to go down anytime soon. We've heard a lot about people not drilling in the Permian right now, and I was reading an article in the Midland newspaper, and it talked about we're just not drilling for oil like we were, and
Right.
but it is what it is, and but really good. So yeah, you're right. Oil and gas news. Um, and what else you want to talk about? The
Well,
transition.
I'm one more time.
No, I was going to say, do we want to talk about the weekly five? Are we at the weekly five
Yes,
yet?
that's what I was gonna say. I want to know what books you're reading right now, what podcasts and TV shows you're listening and watching, and then of course, word of the week.
Yeah. Well, Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek.
Love him,
I've
by
mentioned
the way.
this. Yeah, me too. Um, I mentioned that he wrote the book Why, right?
The book of why.
Ask the book of ask
Why? It's
why,
just why.
and it's an incredible book, and I really do like him. What do you think? What are some of your things that you like about him?
Well, speaking of habits and getting into some of those habits, my mom had recommended one of these books. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I just think that it's such a wonderful book because it talks about the micro actions that deliver long-term transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we're talking about implementing some of these things that we're thinking about, some of these goals that we have, and the path that we are going to take to meet those goals, it comes from those habits. And what are the building blocks so that we can get to that goal? What's the consistency that's going to deliver those results? So it's a great book, wonderful. If you haven't read it, definitely read it, by James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Okay, good. That's great. Awesome, awesome. It does say down here that I don't mean to go back to my book, but Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. He start with why was his best selling book. Start with why,
Mm-hmm.
but it's focused on leaders who deliver safety and trust to their teams. The theme is the servant leadership, delivering stability and growth, which is awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
if you I mean this is so cliche, but it kind of reminds me of like a wolf pack, how the leader of the wolf pack is actually in the very back to make sure that everybody is on course and in path with where they're trying to go.
Mm-hmm.
It in my head it's kind of that same theme of like ensuring that your team has safety from all sides and feels secure enough in their positioning so that they can flourish and then give back to the company in a way that they might not have been able to do so if they didn't feel that security
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
from their leaders
I
and
like.
having that path and having that leadership,
I like it. I like it a lot. That's good.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Let's see. Podcast. You want to talk about the podcast that you're listening to right now?
Oh, sure. Yeah. How I built this, Guy Raz. So basically, like every guest story is about how they delivered their idea to the market despite obstacles. I think that it's a little similar to our show because we, try to showcase entrepreneurs and see the opportunities and the challenges that come along with building their businesses and seeing the success that they've defined. So, I liked that, and I feel like it's kind of symbiotic to what we're, or similar to what we're doing
Yeah.
with our
Yeah.
podcast as well. What about you? What are you listening to?
Yeah. Well, the Ed Millett show. I mean, he's a great guy. He's a really good guy.
Yes.
Good motivator. Very very good. Um, Focusing on execution and follow through. Episodes like
Hmm.
how to follow through when motivation fades. We were just talking about some of the motivation. How to follow through when motivation fades. Because what he talked about was that's a great motivator to pick yourself back
Hmm.
up and say, hey, I told these people I was going to do this. I want to make sure that I
Right.
do it for them, do it for myself, and I want to make sure that people see that I want to be an example for somebody. I want to be an
Right.
example. So if I do fall and I get back up and I finish,
Mm-hmm.
that people see that and they use that as an example. No, I mean, it's not for people to look up at me and go, "Oh man, that guy's." No, no, no. I just want you to know if I can do it, literally anybody can do it, and that's the way I
Yes.
like it, and that's what I like about it because it is tough. It is very tough, to sometimes, because it's easy, man. I mean, last night I'm at a volleyball game in Fort Worth, TCU volleyball playing West Virginia, and all of a sudden the guy texts me and he goes, "Oh yeah, hey, by the way, I got somebody I want you to talk to about your podcast, and I'll see you tonight." And I'm like, "See you tonight?" I thought I was done tonight, right? I thought I was playing a volleyball game or watching a volleyball game and going home and
Yeah.
sitting
Just
back
going home and
watching.
relaxing. Put on your nighttime outfit.
Yeah, exactly. One of my
We're in
outfits.
pajamas.
Well, I didn't. I did, but it was
Outfit number 4 for the day is calling.
absolutely. I went to a deal last night for veterans. It's great. It's a great Veteran Day um, deal. It was out at Bentry Country Club, but they had some really good speakers. But yeah, it's one of those things that I'm like, man, I don't want to do it. But I told the guy in my office I'd go with him. Number one, but number two is that I'm looking to do business with these guys, and this is a time where I know they'll be there. I know they'll
Right.
be there, and I can bump into them and talk to them and go, "Hey, what's going on?" And
Right.
let's get together soon. And you just don't follow up and follow. I had to do it for the team. I had to do it, but I didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's the thing about being a leader, right? And not just that, but also that's the thing about business is you have to show up when you don't always want to, and to keep the community, right? Which Eric, you and I had a great conversation about, which is one of those key points of health. And then
Yeah.
two, the leadership component of it, and then three, the entrepreneurship of that. That is just what being an entrepreneurial leader looks like, in case you were wondering.
Very good. I agree. I agree.
TV shows? What are you watching?
Well, I came back. And matter of fact, I need to rerun. Matter of fact, next week I'm going to say that I've watched I'm going to watch Landman because it's coming back
Oh,
on
hmm
this is it this weekend? This Sunday, I believe. Yeah, this Sunday is the first episode of Landman, which is the 16th day of November. I can't wait.
hmm
We'll do a true and false every week about the show and what's going on with the show. We'll do that, but that's Landman, and I wish I could say that I watched the last previous a lot of. I've watched Landman twice, and I feel like I probably need to watch it a third time. But anyway, right now, I've watched the end of some of the Breaking Bad. Some of the Breaking Bad. Remember Breaking Bad?
That's such a good show.
Wow,
Such a good show.
man, it was really good, really good.
Yeah.
Extreme metaphor for over delivering on a promise, which we talked about over delivering. For better or worse. So I thought that was pretty cool.
On
Pretty
the
good. What about you?
opposite
What are you
end of
watching?
the spectrum.
Yeah, I
On
know.
the opposite end of the spectrum, a little more wholesome, Ted Lasso. Just the coaching, the empathy, the optimism. Oh my gosh, did
Yeah,
we have a stroke? Optimism that
optimism,
he, like,
optimism.
whoa,
Maybe,
why is
maybe,
that word hard?
maybe.
Um, I'm like trying to spell it in my head as I'm saying, I'm
Yeah,
like, why is this not working? Optimism
yeah.
that Ted brings,
Oh
and just
man.
and the other thing that I love so much about it, which if you don't know, November is Men's Health Month. It is so important to have the community, to have the vulnerable conversations, especially as a man, to
Hmm.
ensure that you have people around you in your life that you can be vulnerable with and have tough conversations if you need to have them with people. The that it just goes back to being a leader. Like, you can be a leader with your friends and be that shoulder to cry on, or be that ear to listen to that person. But community is so important. And I think Ted Lasso does a wonderful job representing that just because you have emotions as a man, it doesn't mean that you're weak or that swing a certain way. It just means that you are a human being who is experiencing any sort of emotion, and that
Yep.
you can talk with people through that, and you can feel that and not be ashamed or push it down and not work through it with other people.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
absolutely, 100%, 100%. That's great.
It's a beautiful show
Yeah, that's
and it's
great.
hilarious.
And it kind of goes into it kind of goes into the deal about the word of the week, deliver.
Hmm.
So I like the word deliver for word of the week, and the reason why I deliver is because you're telling people something, you're doing the coaching, just like with Ted Lasso, but you're also delivering results, and I love that.
Right.
You know, you're walking the walk, you're talking the talk, man. You are 100% in it,
You're
hundred
showing
percent,
up.
absolutely, 100%. I love it, but also goes with the Bible verse of the week, which is Philippians 4:19. And my God will supply every need of yours according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. And what I think about that, I think about the people that are the government shut down. We're in almost 6 weeks of this now, and the people that missed
Hmm.
a couple of paychecks, and the people that are standing in line at the food trucks right now. I mean, man, my heart's out for them, and
Yeah.
and it's just, but giving money. My wife and I talked about how can we donate money right now to help people, because we want to make sure that we're helping people close to home. I mean, there's all kinds of
Right.
food banks everywhere, but we talked about donating money to a food bank here, and helping people. So we're always looking to help, and to give back, and that's kind of what we do. But that's what I think about with Philippians 4:19. It's like you have abundant we have abundance, and we don't want to just hoard it. It's not ours anyway, and we want to make sure that we can help whenever we can. So I thought that was pretty good.
Absolutely. I mean, we've talked about it before, but in order to you have to be and are called to be God's hands and feet in the world. So how can you give back with the resources that you have? Maybe that's your time.
Good.
Maybe that is your cans in your food pantry. Maybe that is monetary donations, but there's always a way to give to others. Um, but within reason and within boundaries, not overextending yourself and over delivering, but rather delivering with a sense of purpose and intention within your means.
Absolutely. And going into the holidays too, just think about, I mean, it was cold, and I was thinking about, I got to grab a jacket, and I'm just thinking about, we're not all the people that have, we're not all the people that, we're not the only ones that have a jacket, but who doesn't have a jacket, and how cold is it, and how do people that, are homeless, how are they outside, and just, man, it's just like giving back, and I've been to all kinds of parties, from unwrapped gifts. I was a director of a party here in Dallas, and we had an unwrapped gift. You bring an unwrapped gift to get in. We had 4 or 5,000 people. Man, the toys
Oh,
were
wow.
literally sky
Oh,
high.
that's amazing. I
Yeah,
love that so much.
really,
We're
really
doing
neat.
a we're doing an angel tree here at Sages Diagnostics, and that's been one of those things where we're able to give back, and um, it's been so awesome to be able to be a part of a company that really gives to philanthropic efforts. And then, oh, Jay, I forgot to tell you, I went to a gala for Voices of Hope, Avenue 360, talking about those that are less fortunate. Avenue 360, they have many different locations, but it provides hospice care as well as health care to those that are less fortunate. And so that was a gala to support them in their cause and celebrate what they've been able to accomplish this year. So
Oh,
look at us. We are just ingrained in philanthropic efforts. I love it.
yeah, me too. Me too. And it's all good. Went to that deal last night with the for called Teed Up for the Troops. Teed Up for the Troops is a really great event last night. But yeah, same thing. I mean, this is like, hey, we need to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to help. Whether it's just grabbing trash, or going to sing Christmas carols, which nobody wants me to come sing Christmas carols, I don't think. But
You have a
uh,
fabulous voice, Jay.
well,
Don't let
thanks.
anybody tell you otherwise.
All right, thank you.
You sing loud and proud.
What was I trying to sing last time? Oh, never be humble. You want to be
Okay,
humble,
well,
Mike
maybe
Davis.
not that one.
Yeah, okay, all right,
No,
all right.
just kidding.
Yeah. Uh, but anyway, you're right, and making sure that you do anything you can, anything you can to help others. You know, put a smile on their face, and that's why when I go around people, man, I don't mind. I mean, the guy that's cleaning up at the arena. You know, if I say hi to him, how you doing? What's going on? You know, may slide him a little bit of cash every once in a while. You know, hey, why
Yeah.
not? You know, it's make
I was
people feel
gonna
good.
say, why not? You're
Yeah,
here for a finite amount of time. You might
can't
as
take it
well
with you.
make it enjoyable for yourself and others.
You can't take it with you. You know, I
No,
know, I know.
you
I
can't.
got a friend that makes sure that every time when he goes to eat lunch, dinner, whatever, he tips the waitress $100. $100, and it's like if he's there and it's 20 or $30, he's giving 100. And he says, you know what? I am very fortunate. That cost me about $100,000 a year. He's pretty wealthy. He got like 30, 40 million. You know, it's like he makes 3 million a year, and he goes, you know what?
I
A
was
hundred
like,
grand.
what level do I need to be at to operate like that?
I know. Hey, I got a friend of mine out in San Diego, and he says I want to give away $1 million a year to charities. I'm like, man, now that's a goal. $1 million a year. How much do you have to make? Well, I guess you make 10 million or something. You give 10%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
give 10% of your, I mean, that's a goal. And I mean,
Right.
it's just like I saw something the other day. There was two guys. One guy went and decided that he's gonna build some apartments in the Bronx, and he built
Okay.
20 apartments in the Bronx. And one guy decided, I'm gonna go into Manhattan, and I'm gonna spend a little bit of time and a little bit of money, and I'm gonna make me a grand hotel. Well, the story obviously is Donald Trump, and Donald Trump
Right.
said, "You got to think big, only think big." He made $100 million on that. The other guy ended up making $4 or $5 million. Donald Trump made $100 million because he thought big, and when he thought about the Commodore Hotel, he bought the Commodore. That was like one of his first deals that he ever did. I don't know if it was the late '70s, early '80s, but he bought that Commodore Hotel, which in turn into the Grand Hyatt on 42nd Street. Fabulous place. And I was staying there before I knew that Donald Trump had anything to do with it. But found out, but anyway, then he built Trump Tower right after that. But he was very well known for real estate in New York at the time. But how much money, if you're going to spend time and effort, why not spend it on something big? You know,
Right.
think big.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a great segue to get off and finish up. I think we need to finish this episode with, if you're going to do it, why not do it big? Think big, and we'll see you back here next week. Thank you very much, Jordan. Thank you. Always a pleasure, and we'll see you guys here next week. Thank you.